And where's my video? Hello, YouTube. YouTube. Let me see if we're actually live. Yep, we're live. Okay. For some reason, oh, there it goes. Stupid YouTube. And we're live.
Excellent. Gosh, a little painful tonight. It's my bad, partially.
It's mostly your bad. Mostly. I'm gonna put the blame 85% on you. I could have done something better, I'm sure. I'm not sure what it is, but hey, we're on. Perfect. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 131, your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. Oh, man. It's already been a week.
Yeah, hasn't it, though? It's just like every day in quarantine is worth like 3 or 4.
Yesterday was the longest 6 days of my life.
God.
Yeah. Says audio could use some gain. All right, I'll take a look at that. See, it didn't seem too quiet to me. Although, no, we are a little down. Okay. Maybe I'm just tired tonight. There we go. No, I think we're about good now.
And right, I only got one audio source too, right? So I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm peaking at about -3, which is right where I should be. You're just 1 or 2 clicks lower, so I think we're pretty good. I don't want to.
All right.
Don't want to screw with it.
All right.
And we're live. Welcome to Talking Heads, once we live stream the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff. He's Brett. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. If you have never seen the show before, this is our once weekly live show. We talk about beer for about 20 minutes, anything alcohol, beer, or liquor related that we want to talk about. We then move into tech news, usually takes between 40 minutes and an hour, followed up by games, pop culture, entertainment, or whatever we feel like doing. Oftentimes leads to some rather hostile Star Trek talk. We do drink alcohol on the show, although we do try to keep the content both... Try to keep the content both... What do I keep saying both there? Try to keep the content friendly in both language and content. There we go. If I can get through this intro, I think we'll be just fine. And if you are drinking along with us, whether alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we will give some early show shout-outs. With all that said, that only took the first 2 minutes. Rhett, how you doing, buddy?
Hanging in there. You know, isolation presents its own unique challenges every day, but we're making do.
Yeah. As am I here. I've actually had to go into my office the last 2 days. Today I spent the entire day in my office, and it's been a while since I've done that.
Yeah.
I think the longest I've been in my office has been about 5 hours. I've actually spent 16 hours the last 2 days. I spent 2 8-hour days in there. And I know it's like, ooh, he went to work for 2 days. When you haven't done that for over 2 months, it's a little weird.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. I haven't really worked away from home and probably 6 to 8 weeks. And yesterday I went out for the first time and pulled a 12-hour shift.
Right.
Working from my car, of course. And so I'm sitting in my car with it off, and it's only 70 degrees outside, but it's bright and sunny, and I just roasted in my car.
Yeah.
Thing of all time.
Yep. Yeah, so it's been a rough couple of days. There's a lot of stuff going on at work that's just ever so much fun as we're getting through this whole period.
Yeah.
But business has to continue as usual, so we're trying to stay as business as usual as possible. Big Spoon, $9.99 donation. Today is me and my wife's 3-year wedding anniversary. My wife wants you and Sweater Vest to take a shot if possible, please. Well, I don't know if I'm going to take a shot, and I don't know if Rhett's up for shots tonight.
I got to work.
We were talking about before the show. He's actually got to drive to work at 10:30 tonight. I will be finishing the show with something. So this is a Big Bottom Small Batch Barlow Trail whiskey. It's an American blended whiskey finished in port casks. So this is something special.
That sounds delicious.
91 proof, and one of my favorite local distillers. These guys are actually up in Hillsboro.
Oh, is that right?
And I've bought probably a dozen different bottles from them. They are all unique and they are all fantastic. I have never been disappointed with something I bought from Big Bottom. Hashtag not sponsored, but call me.
Yeah, for real.
Because I will talk the crap out of your brand. Seriously, my favorite gin, literally of all time, is their barrel finished gin. It's like taking like the best of gin and the best of rye whiskey and blending it perfectly. It's amazingly good. But anyway, congratulations, Big Spoon,
Yeah, 3 years, man. Good job.
and Mrs. Little Spoon. I guess we'll call you.
Maybe just Big Spoon instead of Big.
I'm not going to start with the shot, but I promise I will finish with the whiskey. Might even double dip in the whiskey just for you tonight. So congratulations on 3 wonderful years. After being married 8. Anyway, Rhett, what are you opening up tonight?
Tonight, I got my last can of Prismatic.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so just keeping it a little chill. Jeff gave me a present last time we were talking, but it's 12%. So
yeah, I was wondering if you were going to dig that one out tonight because that one's a bit of a doozy.
I was going to, but then when I found out that I was going to have to work, I was like, nah.
Best not drink a 12.5 before an 8-hour shift.
Yeah, it's going to be too much. So
yeah,
I'm keeping it simple. Prismatic, y'all seen me drink it 100 times on the show.
Prismatic's a classic.
Oh yeah,
I really like Prismatic. I am going to go for a North Coast Brewing Prankster. It's a Belgian style quad.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or excuse me, Belgian style golden ale. It's only a quad if it's only over 10%. This is a 7.6. And it's a big old bottle. But I love me a solid Belgian, and this one promises to be that. It's North Coast, same people who make Old Rasputin.
Yeah, that looks delicious. So
yeah.
Well done, sir.
So that is the plan for the evening.
I didn't bring a glass. I'm such a barbarian.
I ruined the pop. There we go.
Yep, drinking this out of the can. It's got to be a first on the show, right?
No, John and I drank the Bud Light Orange and Lime out of out of bottles. It's very carbonated.
It always tastes delicious.
Very light, very carbonated refreshing for a Belgian. Look how clear that is.
Oh, there you go. Damn, that looks good.
Yeah. Boom.
Hey, we can see the reflection of what's going on in your beer there.
That is literally crystal clear. That's amazing. There's your thumbnail right there. Oh, let's see. Who's drinking what? Novella Hub, Surly Brewing, Doppelhellerbach, 9% ABV, aged on hickory honeycombs. That sounds amazingly good. Let's see. Mississippi Mud, Black and Tan, excellent. Just killed off a Hop Stupid from Lagunitas, about to crack a Phantom Bride from Belching Beaver. That is a solid lineup there, Reverend. Get out some Angel's Envy. Very nice. Scott, it's a port finish battle royale. Oh yeah, he's doing the Angel's Envy cask finish. Yeah. We'll see how yours compares, Scott. Steve Gunnick says Lagunitas. Alice is drinking a Guinness because it's good for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love me a good nitro. Oof. Let's see. Nick Caveman is having a Henry Weinhardt's Private Reserve Lager. Very nice. Greg Foster, Twisted Tea. Jeff won't let me bring Bud Light Lime. No, I won't. Nor will I let you bring Bud Light Lemonade. You keep that crap to yourself. Mister, I endorse Bud Light Lemonade now. So we'll be looking for a new co-host when this is all over. Let's see. Bite My Bits, $2.23. You have something stuck on your teeth. Nope, we're good. But you know what? I'm not as vain as you are, so even if I did, I really wouldn't care. Magic Hat number 9. Very
Oof,
nice.
that is a good beer.
That's a good beer. Icken drinking a Matty Light. A Natty Light. There we go. Very nice. All right, on to this Belgian. Oh, dude. That is everything I want out of an Abbey style ale. Like it's crisp, it's malty, it's just the right little touch of some of those German traditional flavors. Like you kind of taste a little banana, you kind of taste a little ester, a little clove, little almost like a nutmeg style spice, but it is just crisp, refreshing. Oh,
That sounds really good.
this gets my approval.
Yeah, I miss doing the in-person shows because you don't realize how much craft computing studios well-stocked fridge spoils you until you're locked in quarantine.
Right.
Buy your own beer. I mean, it's just not the same. It's not the
Yeah.
same.
Well, I've been a bad boy. So it's been 3.5 months since I visited a liquor store. Our local liquor store just opened their doors back up if you wear a face mask. So before it was you had to call ahead and do curbside pickup. And I just never went through the hassle of that. I never had the time to go there and sit for 20 minutes waiting for them to pick my order. Well, I drove by tonight and they happened to have their doors open and a couple signs there that said if you wear a mask you can come in and choose what you want. I left with $253 worth of liquor, including 5 really good bottles of whiskey. It's been a long quarantine. My whiskey supply is dwindling.
Yeah, it's never good when you see that. Well, I think I told you last time. I mean, that was a month ago now. But it's like, I did my liquor store run early on and it's like just bought handles on handles of like the cheapest stuff they have. Well, that's all gone.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. So before quarantine, like we're talking like back towards like Christmas time. When I moved into my new house, so that was December 13th, I had 14 bottles of whiskey and probably 12 of them were near full. And that's the last time I visited the liquor store was right before. It's been 5 months since I've been to a liquor store.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's an all-time record. Anyway, so I went into the I was saying how much whiskey I had left. So I started with 14 bottles of whiskey in this house. I had dwindled all the way down to 4, not including my handle and a half of Singrub 7 that I have left. Because that's just like my house whiskey that I always have way too much of. But I was out of Elijah Craig. I was almost out of Bullet 95. I was completely out of Scotch. I've got just like this little thing left of Speyside 10. I've got maybe 1.5 ounces left of Suntory Toki, Japanese whiskey. I have maybe 4 ounces of Templeton left. My Michter's is almost gone. My Weller's almost gone. So like all of my bottles have like this much left in them.
Nice.
And it's like, I don't want to drink the last of it in case like I want like 100% rye or a Scotch or this, but they all dwindled to like 3 ounces left. I'm like, I gotta fix this.
Gotta upgrade.
Yep.
Well,
so I came home with 4 really nice fifths and a 1.75 of Elijah Craig's small batch.
Dang.
So
Dang.
it was a good day. And then some various other spirits that I've been running low on. Anyway, we've been blabbing for 14 minutes now. Let's get into today's news. Starting with, for the first time in 33 years, the Oregon Brewers Fest has been canceled. This is pretty big news because the Oregon Brewers Fest is the largest outdoor beer festival in the United States, and I believe it's the 3rd largest beer festival overall. This is where beer brewers come to show off what they have. It is one of the biggest events of the year. And it's always been an Oregon thing. It's always been down at the Waterfront Park, down in Portland. And it's been running for 33 years straight. And on year 34, they have to cancel because of the virus. Now, everyone says, well, if we're able to go out by August, can't we just have the festival anyway? And I'm going to say the same thing that I said to some events in the last couple of weeks, like PAX West and CES and Computex and QuakeCon. The list goes on. These events literally have full-time staff devoted to making sure the events happen. From registering the locations to putting down deposits to getting vendors to show up to scheduling food carts to making hotel reservations and accommodations for the thousands upon thousands of guests that come down. Something like 30,000 or 40,000 people come to the Brewers Fest every single year. So it's a pretty big deal. And because those organizations have full-time employees and it is a full-time business making this event happen, even though it's only a 4-day event, you have to schedule those things so far in advance. If you don't know that the space is going to be occupiable, you can't plan to have it open. And we're kind of in that same situation. That's why Computex, said, we can push it back to September, but if we have to delay it even one more time, we're going to cancel it entirely. That's why PAX East was a very small event this year, and all of a sudden, after PAX East happened in February, all of the conferences just shut down. They're not suspending operations, they're not moving it, they're not doing anything else. They just stopped because there's not enough time in the 4 months leading up to actually plan that event.
Yeah. See, it's a tough call, and I think like we're going to be seeing a lot of events making those hard decisions over the summer.
All right.
But it's probably for the best ultimately. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially when there's these super long running events that have never been stopped. There is an event down in Lynn County. The Lynn County, I think it's Pioneer Picnic or something they call it. It's been going on for like 140 years. And this is the first year it's stopped. I don't know. I think hopefully we'll see some payoff for it, or at least we won't see any damage from it. But I don't know. Best of luck to the Oregon Brewers Festival next year. Hoping it doesn't just die. I hope missing 1 year doesn't just kill all these events.
Right.
We'll have to see.
And that's a risk that we run right now, because without revenue, you can't keep your employees on. I mean, I've done work for a number of annual events, and there's a haunted house that I work with every single year, and he's worried about, is he going to be able to open in October? And not only that, but he has to think about, do I want to invest the infrastructure and time and money that goes into building the event in the 5 months leading up to that?
Right.
We're still 5.5 months from Halloween, but that business starts October 1st, and you have to be ready September 15th. And so there's 4 months left, and that's all he has. And if he doesn't know that he's going to be able to open his doors, he's not going to invest the $20,000 or $30,000 in startup costs. He's got to save it for next year so he has a chance of surviving. And it's a big part of his personal income. And so, he's just a small business. That's all he does for income. And I know quite a few small businesses like that, where they're like, if I shut down for 2 or 3 months, I'm finished. If you can't pay your rent, if you can't pay your bills, if you can't pay your employees, you can't keep your doors open, no matter how much you'd like to. So it's a big thing right now. And I'm sorry to see the Oregon Brewers Fest have to shutter. I have to agree with the decision, and I, like you said, I hope it doesn't, mean closing their doors forever.
Yeah.
Because that's a big event.
Yeah. No, time will tell. I'm rooting for him.
All right. Let's see. In the latest slugfest between corporate giants, Anheuser-Busch wins the latest round against Molson Coors. This has gone back the other direction now. Anheuser-Busch can indeed now advertise that the competing brands contain corn syrup. We're over a year later from Corn Syrup Gate, And yeah, I think the king shall return in this one. We might get some more commercials about, hey, did you order a bunch of corn syrup? They delivered it to our castle by mistake. No, you must want the Miller branch. Yeah. So the latest is the Seventh U.S. Court of Appeals has overturned a federal judge's ruling in September, ruling that no, in fact, Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch Corporation have every right to claim that they brew with corn syrup because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this one. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong, but it's really fun to watch them go at each other.
Yeah, the back and forth has been fun.
Real Drive Subi, late to the party, but drinking some blood of the unicorn. Nice. Wait, there are still people who care about corn syrup? Yeah, the Corn Farmers of America. And I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying. It's an organization, and it's an organization of corn farmers. And the reason they're upset is there's only a couple things that you use corn for. Well, there's actually multiple things, but one of the big things is producing corn syrup for an artificial sweetener. The other is ethanol, producing corn that you can distill down into ethanol, and sell for grain in different distillation processes. But yeah, it's a whole thing. They were so upset at Anheuser-Busch that after the Super Bowl happened, after that ad campaign ran, there were Twitter videos of people like dumping beer down the sink and tearing up Bud Light T-shirts, and it was a whole deal. And I don't exactly blame them if that's your entire business and your livelihood, and someone all of a sudden is trying to imply a negative connotation, with or without merit. I'm actually not sure on that whole argument. But with or without merit, if they're putting a negative connotation on your livelihood and attacking what is your literal only product, I'd be upset too.
Yeah. It's not like they don't have a right to be bothered by it. So.
Yep. Exactly. So who knows who's right, who's wrong? We're actually going to skip the next story because it wouldn't load without logging into Facebook, and I wasn't going to log into Facebook just to read it.
Well,
unless you want to talk about it real quick.
I wonder if I could, let's see. Oh, you disabled screen sharing, you son of a gun. That's fine. I don't want to talk about it, but I have it up, and I hated the story, but it got a good laugh at.
Yeah.
So
for those who don't know, yeah, let's talk about it. Sure.
Okay, fine.
Gosh, now it's autoplaying. No, screw it. I'm not talking about it.
I know it autoplayed a video. That's
I'm done.
The most obnoxious thing of all time.
I'm done.
But I loaded it way a long time ago. Yeah. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
So this is a nice quick story. And it's 600 breweries are coming together to craft a beer for a good cause. And I'm sure we all know what that cause is. Aforementioned beer illness, human malware, etc., etc. So a lot of breweries are finding themselves in very, very difficult times. We talked about kegs being smashed and just dumped down the drain because they have a 3-month shelf life. And if bars aren't open, then kegs aren't being tapped. And you have wasted inventory. And there's nothing you can do with that except maybe open it up and distill it back down and create ethanol hand sanitizer. Or do what a couple local breweries have done and rush and can your kegs before they expire. Or
give it away.
You lose your inventory. Right. Which, by the way, thank you, Sandy Am, for doing home delivery. I loved my Governor's Reserve Pirate Stout. That was phenomenal. And the Wee Willie's Scotch Ale.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I
had both of those.
They are the best brewery in this area, I think. They always blow me away with some of their specialty beers like that.
I would agree. It's the first time I've seen the Scotch Strong Ale in cans. It's only ever been on draft, and you could tell because it was a temporary label slapped on a can.
Yeah.
So they didn't have any can art for it mocked up. Anyway, more than 600 breweries in 48 states and 51 countries have created their own altogether beer. So much like the what was the Sierra Nevada beer for the Chico fires?
Yeah.
Oh
dang it!
Gosh. Fire beer. Resilience IPA.
Damn it!
Much like the Sierra Nevada Resilience IPA, you can't out Google me. Do you know what I do for a living?
Well, what's funny is I had it, I just couldn't say it fast enough.
I'm literally a professional Googler. Thank you very much.
Well, how many words did it take for you to get it? Because I just Googled Sierra beer.
I Googled Sierra.
Beer.
I Googled Sierra Camp.
Oh, all right, fine. 2 words versus 3. Big old middle finger to you.
Yep.
Fine.
It's about knowing what your keywords are going to be when searching for something.
So be it. I defer to your judgment.
I take the win. Anyway, 600 breweries have come together to create an altogether beer. Each brewery was given the same base recipe and added their own twist. So unlike the Sierra Nevada, where they're providing grains and they're providing, the exact mash bill, they're actually saying, here's the base recipe, do something else to it. And so each of these 600 breweries are going to be doing their own little local twist to this beer. That's cool. Urban South Brewery in Houston is donating its funds to the Southern Smoke Foundation. Trying to go towards relief efforts for people that are affected by this. So very, very cool thing. I love seeing breweries respond like this. Just like I praise Sierra Nevada for starting the resilience campaign and getting 1,500 breweries involved in the campfire relief for Chico County, and then later on for Australia, they did the same thing for the Australia fires this last winter, their summer.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Southern Smoke Foundation provides more than $400,000 to unemployed hospitality workers. So your wait staff, your bartenders, your chefs, your cooks, your servers. That's what that foundation is going to, is helping those people kind of weather the storm here. So very cool story. If you happen to see Altogether IPA or Altogether beer, make sure to pick up a pack and go to supporting that.
Sounds good. Hey, did I freeze?
Yeah, your video is frozen. I thought you were just sitting really still.
Yeah, I know. That's a prank I like to play on people, but God, what is... Oh, man, what is going on with this world? Well, let me double check.
Let's just go to Rhett.
Hey, it's also occurred to me, like, if there's...
There we go.
Woo! It's also occurred to me that perhaps I could just... I didn't realize that I could probably just sync up audio from this device and not have 2 streams going to you. Can we see if it works?
It doesn't matter if it's 1 stream or 2 stream. You're just sending them to our chat service. So,
well, I'm worried.
I think we're good.
I'm worried if it's not synced up at all. But
no,
nobody said anything. Okay,
no, it's great.
Cool. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah, you've been mildly off sync a couple times, but nothing worth worrying about.
That's not too bad for this ghetto setup I got rolling tonight.
It's really not. For those who don't know, he's streaming off his phone and talking from his computer.
My freaking webcam just like it stops syncing up with my computer when I plug it in for whatever reason. Like I just can't get it to work right now. So
yeah,
I think the port's damaged. I might try to repair it, but is what it is. You spend $50 on a little action camera. That's what you pay for. So.
Yep, exactly. So we'll get you something eventually. Something maybe a little better than that. Anyway, let's move on. So 8:35, end of beer news, finally. So 30 minutes in. That's not too bad. That's not too bad for a
No.
remote stream. Remember, it takes us twice as long to introduce beers to say hello, and it took me 3 minutes to get through the introduction today. So. I'm still not sure I finished it. This might still be technically the intro.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of my favorite recent Linux distributions, PopOS from the fine folks there at System 76, they have finally released version 20.04 LTS. I, for one, could not be more happy to give this one a spin. I've been kind of waiting for PopOS to come out with 2004 because I again want to revisit Steam on Linux, or as I call it, SteamOS Revisit, because that was the original concept, although SteamOS hasn't been updated since I published the initial video. Although Valve has said their SteamOS is not dead, don't worry about it, but the Steam client for Linux is getting updates, but SteamOS is not. So I've been kind of wanting to give it another spin and see if, number one, is the installation easier for getting Proton and VKDX and all the different plugins to work, so you can have literal 95% Windows compatibility inside of Linux on your Steam games. Or is it just kind of stagnant? I really haven't kept up with it all that much, and I thought it was about time, since it's about a year later, to re-explore that concept. So a bunch of new features inside of 2004. If you're not familiar with PopOS, it is an Ubuntu-based OS, and don't correct me on Ubuntu. You know, there
Don't
is.
at me.
I'm not going to say Ubuntu because and don't go there. Don't go there. I will troll you right back. It's Ubuntu. I say the U. I give it the U, and I know it's a tribe in Africa. I know it's named after the tribe. I know all that. But saying Ubuntu is just a little bit too much for me. So Ubuntu, which is how everyone else says it. This is a variant of Ubuntu. It's based on the same Debian distribution as Ubuntu, but it has a lot of user-friendly features built into it that make it, I don't want to say a little bit more Windows-like, but a little bit more user-friendly from the interface. Things are in a little bit more familiar places. Your keyboard shortcuts are very similar to Windows instead of being radically different like they are in Ubuntu. It's the couple times I've played with 1904, I was very, very impressed with it, and I kind of wanted to wait for 2004 to come out to do a revisit, and now I finally can. There are two different ISO images available for it, one with an Intel and AMD based driver package for graphics cards, and another with an NVIDIA graphics cards package. I'm assuming it's using the Nuevo NVIDIA graphics, which is an open source NVIDIA driver. Download the one you want and click install. Like I said, this just released, was it 2 days ago? No, 4 days ago. So May 1st. This dropped. Yeah, I can't wait to give this one a shot. You much of a Linux guy, Rhett? I don't know if you've ever...
No, not really. Coming as a shock to everyone.
Sure, your computer could run
it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not about whether or not I have the hardware capability, Jeff.
Okay. It's more of a wetware problem, you could say.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it for sure. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's like when I was in high school, it's like all of my buddies would dabble with Linux, and I just never quite got there. I don't know. Never quite fell into my wheelhouse of interest, I guess, when it came to computing. So. Don't at me.
Yep. JFZ, how bad is Manjaro these days? Manjaro is an Arch distro, for those who don't know. It's about as bad as Arch. It's not that it's terrible. It's just that tends to be very finicky. It's very specific on what it wants. It's very specific on order of operations and how you install packages, and everything pretty much has to be installed manually. But it runs, and if you're a Linux guru who likes tinkering in Linux to make things work, I'm sure it works just fine for you. For those looking for a point-and-click interface, look elsewhere, because it's Arch. And I've been able to get Arch to successfully boot. Nothing worked in it, but yeah, if you like spending long weekends compiling your own driver sets, look up Arch.
See, I guess I could go back and redact a little bit of what I said, because I do a lot of tinkering on my Raspberry Pi, but everything I'm doing is a lot of just Googling. So I can't profess to be any sort of expert. I just Google and find what works.
Don't we all sometimes? I actually ran into a significant problem this last weekend. So for those who haven't seen my most recent video, I'm trying to re-explore the cloud gaming computer or cloud gaming server concept. So kind of a 6 gamers, 1 CPU, but all of them being able to be remote anywhere in the world. And so distributed gaming system, or productivity system, or whatever have you. I ran into an issue where I'm trying to run some specific cards to do that. And every time I searched Parsec or Grid or Tesla, it came up with my own videos. So my SEO is off the frickin' chart. But unfortunately, I can't find the crap that I need to do the research to further explore this project.
It's funny.
I was seriously the first page and a half of results. It's like, son of a...
It's funny because I was working on our game jam for Game Devs Quest. It was wrapping up this last weekend, and I was having a lot of trouble getting some stuff to work in Unity. And so I started Googling the problem. And I swear, my whole weekend was spent Googling it. And I thought about putting a credit screen at the very end of the game and not including my own name, just like all of the handles for the advice that I took or the lines of code that I jimmied to get to work just right.
Yeah.
Because it's none of it was original work that I plugged in. It was all other people's suggestions or tips online on Stack Exchange or what have you. So
I'll tell you how obscure this cloud gaming server has been. I talked to Wendell himself. I talked to Level 1 Tech's Wendell and explained to him what I was trying to do with Grid and Tesla cards. And his response was, "That sounds cool."
Yeah.
He was actually helpful with getting me kind of pointed in the right direction on a couple things, but he had no idea if it would work. He had no idea where I was going. So that was kind of a fun interaction.
Yeah. See, it's fun
when you stump Wendell on a virtual machine and Linux-based question, you know you done it.
It's fun because you've had this idea going around your noggin for more than a year now, or at least a
bit over a year.
Yeah. So kudos to you for coming up with an original idea. Not many people have those.
Yep.
It's funny because I remember when you first described it, and I was like, yeah, that seems simple enough.
Why wouldn't that be possible? So I will say I've been having some great success with the 3 GTX 690s. Now, unfortunately, I can't get more than 6 gaming rigs going. I can't distribute the power of the graphics cards. It's 1 graphics card to 1 VM. So I'm able to run 6 VMs. But I was successfully playing Crysis the other night on a netbook at 60 FPS at 1080p with no stuttering.
Yeah.
And that was freaking awesome. Just quad-core Atom, basic, 4 or 5 year old netbook. I think it was the D3250 quad-core Atom or something like that.
Nice.
Man, that thing flew. That was so great.
Man, you got your prototype off the ground faster than Google got Stadia rolling. So
I know, with better results too. I can actually get 6 people online at the same time.
Suck it, Google.
So I'm I'm currently working on that one, and I'm still exploring ways to get the Tesla M60s to do the same thing. I will likely have to change VM hosts entirely again because right now I'm on VMware. So I've gone from Proxmox, which pretty much didn't work at all for the level of thing that I was trying to do, to Citrix, which would only work with version 6.2 with grid K1 and K2 cards. Other than that, they will not distribute graphics. And Citrix even has a little bit of a difficult time disguising the VM host from the guest client, which means passing through NVIDIA cards is inherently difficult. VMware has a one-click operation for hiding your host OS, and so that's been pretty simple to get the GTX 690s going. And I have more than enough power to power all 6 gaming rigs in this system with room to spare. Yeah, the next step will probably be going to the Tesla M60s, and I have a special guest appearance from another card as well that I'm going to try to sucker into that mix as well. I'm going to try to make an 8-gamer cloud gaming rig with Teslas, or possibly more if I'm able to properly distribute the Tesla GPUs, as I should be able to. I should be able to break them up into 2 or 4 chunks. Man, it's been a process. And by the way, that will be an entirely different VM host from anything you've seen before.
I love how what was going to be like a 2 video series turned into a 3 video series, 4 video series onwards.
I have at least parts 5, 6, and 7 planned at this point. So, and nice. I'm still in the middle of exploring part 5, and I've got another project that I'm trying to get published before Saturday as well. So
see, that's how you know it's a good idea, though. It's like,
I know. It's because it's actually captured me and made me passionate about, this is going to work.
Right. See, the worst thing would be coming up with an idea where you get a solid video out of it and you try to milk it for a sequel, you know? It's just so hollow and empty. Or it's just like version 2.0. It's like nothing different. And no, kudos, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I love watching those videos.
Thank you. So, yeah, it's been fun. So it's been a cluster. It's been a little bit of a cluster. See, hardwired or Wi-Fi? I was over Wi-Fi when I was playing on the Chromebook or playing on the netbook. Has to be hardwired? No, it was over Wi-Fi. It was over 802.11n. So. And it was actually not even in the best spot in my house. My access point is way up the stairs and around the corner. And I'm in a basement, so everything around me is stone. And I got enough signal to play. It only takes 10 megs. I mean, you could snag so many RX 580s for uber cheap. Actually, an RX 580 would cost me more than one of these GTX 690s. And I posted the links to those. I paid $81 each for all 3 of those, which is insane.
Yeah.
And there's 2 GPUs per one of those. Now, if you also looked at my Supermicro motherboard, there's only 3 X16 slots. There's also 3 8X slots, but 2 problems with that. Number 1 is no one makes a single slot RX 580. There is the FirePro V something. There is a FirePro variant of the RX 580 with 8 gigabytes of memory that is a 1U card. However, it is loud as... Everything I wanted to say was a swear. I have one, and I've been thinking about testing it just for the lulz. But there is no single slot RX 580, and the 8X slots on here are not open back, so I can't put a 16X card into an 8X slot. It wouldn't work. So yeah. So I think 6 gamers is the most that I'll get out of the direct VM setup. I'm hoping to get upwards of 8 or more in future videos, but those will be quite a bit in the future because I need to stop paying attention to this so much. It's literally right here. I love this thing. I need to stop paying attention to that so much and start working on a couple other projects. Yeah. I'd go with KVM and Bleeding Edge QEMU. It has some nice features. Virtuo FS. Yeah, that does have some nice features, but unfortunately it still doesn't do distributed graphics cards. I can't give GPU power to a host and say use up to 10% of your CUDA cores. and distribute it like that. I'm waiting for someone to figure out a system to do that, where you basically segment off sections of your graphics card and section it off just like you would section off a couple of threads on your processor. Windows does something similar to that with Remote FX in Hypervisor, but unfortunately they've also decommissioned isn't the right word, but they're no longer doing Remote FX in Server 2019. I can install Server 2016, but I'm also not sure if the Tesla M60s or the other mystery card that I purchased is going to actually be able to work in that scenario. If they'll actually do 3D rendering without being in graphics card mode and doing NVIDIA grid licensing inside of Remote FX. So that's a whole nother ball of wax. That's like a sequel or a preview of part 5, maybe. But the goal is to build a backpack-mounted VR system. No, the goal is to have a 100% wireless headless VR system. So, yeah. Reminds me of that single slot 1050 Ti from Inno3D. How about the Shuriken, I think it was, GTX 1070 single slot card? That thing was a freaking beast. I forget who made that one, but someone made a GTX 1070 in a single slot.
By the way, I'm on my second drink, which is a LaCroix, everybody. Key lime.
Oh, snap. LaCroix.
So delish.
How dare you sully that Blazers cup?
Hey, you shut it.
That's not Stoudemire, is it?
No, it's Buck Williams.
Okay.
Old school.
You can pour that in Buck Williams. If that was a Terry Porter, I'm gonna slap it.
This is dumb, but this is usually my Dr. Pepper cup. I only put Dr. Pepper in here.
Dr. Pepper in the Dr. Jack. I like it. That's awesome.
But I was looking through my cupboard and I thought, what would look better on camera? And I thought the Blazers glass. So
someone said the Katana. Yeah, it was the Katana 1070, and I believe it was Galax that did that one. Sounds like SRIOV. Haven't done that with video cards. It'd be sweet when I'm ready. I was actually looking at... you can do SRIOV with AMD cards, with some AMD cards. The S7150 and 7150X2 both do SRIOV. And so you can distribute graphics power the same way you distribute threads on your processor. But those cards are still exceedingly expensive. Now, I did find one card on eBay, a 7150X2, where the bid is at $50 right now. And I'm considering buying it. Now, there's no heat sinks on it. There's no I/O plate. It's literally just the bare PCB and GPU dies, and it's for parts only. But for $50, I might be willing to take a shot and like jury rig some really janky water cooling onto it and see if I could at least play with SRIOV and see if that's something worth exploring. AMD also has the V9300, which I would love to get my hands on one of those. But unfortunately, those also don't do any direct 3D or Vulkan renderization. They're only compute cards. And that's a problem with a lot of these high-end enterprise cards, like the Tesla M60, is unless you have specific licensing or unless they're specifically unlocked, they won't do standard gaming rasterization. So look for LaCroix. Vaguely tastes of lime.
Dude, actually, I will say, so,
was kept in a bag with a bushel of lemons.
Yeah, my favorite one was it tastes like water that had a dream of lime.
Yeah. But I love all the different sayings.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I'm not like super, I don't really care about, I don't know. I don't mind the LaCroix. I don't mind any of the seltzer waters that are like flavored or whatever. But
LaCroix tastes like if you were drinking carbonated water and someone screamed out the name of a specific fruit in the other room.
Yeah, maybe. But see, you ever get that like when you're eating something and you think it's one flavor, but then it's actually another flavor?
There's a joke I have to tell you after the stream.
Oh no, it must be good. It must be good.
There's also LaCroix tastes like when my foot falls asleep.
Yeah, because it's all tingly. I can see that. That's a
LaCroix transported in a truck near bananas. Hint of limes. Single Skittle dissolved in water.
Yeah, single
Shy
Skittle.
watermelon. Imagine like a strawberry, but with low battery.
Yeah, I can see that one too. That's a good one. If y'all haven't had this like key lime flavor though,
That's pretty dope.
it's good, man. It
Yeah.
tastes exactly like key lime pie tastes like. One of the reasons I get them is to mix them with vodka. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I think that's why all people get them.
I legitimately don't mind them. Like if I want something that's like not unhealthy for me, but not just like water from the tap, it's like I can reach into the fridge,
Yeah.
I can grab one. It itches the same itch as like cracking open a beer
Right.
or like a pop, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're not amazing, but like I got them on sale from Winco, man. These key lime LaCroix were on sale for like $2 for a half rack. What are you gonna do?
So American Cosworth says, funny guys, after my heart surgery, that S is all I can drink. That's really funny. I hope you good health. I wish you very good health. And I apologize that that's all you can drink anymore.
Yo, buddy. No, Rhett's on your side here, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not pretentious about what I drink. Everybody's seen the beers I drink. I was gonna bring a Coors Light onto the show, but then I was like, I was gonna bring it on, but I was like, it's only 1% less alcohol than the Prismatic, which is way better,
right?
Obviously,
right.
But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, because Prismatic's what, a 5.5?
I think it's 5.9. 5.9. I'm looking.
Okay, yeah,
you're close. You're almost spot on.
I'm in ballpark.
For just guessing.
It's like White Claw, but even more depressing.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what is surprisingly good with LaCroix? A little bit of amaretto.
Yeah, I can see that.
It adds a little bit of sweetness to it. It adds just a little bit of that alcohol kick that you kind of want. And it kind of enhances whatever flavor is there. So with the lemon lime, it's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, amaretto and Sprite's a pretty solid combo, but LaCroix, if you just want, a little bit of carbonated water or seltzer or whatever, with just a hint of lime, it's not a bad way to go.
And I got like super, like when my wife was pregnant last summer, it's like I out of solidarity, there's a lot of times we're out and I wasn't drinking alcohol with her, but like we were doing this thing like where we weren't telling people we weren't drinking or whatever, or that I wasn't drinking. And so we'd go and like, yo, can I get a club soda with lime? Can I get a club soda and lime in a cocktail glass? And then you get something that looks like you're drinking the gin and tonic or whatever you have. It's just club soda and lime. That's what LaCroix tastes like. You put LaCroix in a cocktail glass with ice, you're drinking a club soda with lime. It's the same thing.
Right. Totally the same thing.
I will stand up for anybody who has to drink LaCroix because of heart surgery.
Yep.
I'll never bash it.
No, we constantly have it in our house. I even drink it. I still make fun of it, but I drink it.
It's because you have an audience, Jeff. I knew it.
I'm just a shill.
See, I'm not ashamed.
I have a reputation to upkeep, Rep. Rep.
Yeah. What? Did you just call me Rep?
I did. I called you Rep.
Because you think I'm repping LaCroix? Because I'm on LaCroix's payroll?
You're on LaCroix's payroll. You're on the payroll of Big Seltzer.
Yeah, that's right, dude. I forgot Alka-Seltzer. Actually, see, Pharma would pay. Pharma would pay. Alka-Seltzer, they got money. LaCroix, they don't got money.
They can't even afford fruit to put in their beverages.
Yeah, that's right. 1 Skittle per drink, everybody.
This one's going to be wild berry.
It's close enough. Go ahead and... What is it? They have a berry flavor, but it's got like a weird name, I think. Actually,
it's making me think of the sprinkled sugar meme.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Look, just be thankful I didn't bring a Rainier on. All right.
I'm always thankful you don't bring a Rainier on. I'm always thankful when John's not on because I know I'll at least get a halfway decent beer. I will say I think everyone brings about the same average level of beer. But John's just way the cripple this. like he will bring me legit like Pabst whiskey and Zima and he brought Zima on the show. He did. And we were looking for anything to make it better. John and I also had to do the shot of tequila and peppermint schnapps. But every once in a while, he'll bring me a Firestone Parabola, or he'll bring me a Goose Island Bourbon County Stout coffee, or he'll bring like a Blue Label Goose Island or something. Like, he makes up for it.
As much as it pains me,
but do I have to suffer for 3 months to get there?
Right. As much as it pains me to say it, like, we do got to give him a little bit of credit, because he used to be the proprietor of what I called the Mid-Valley's #1 curated tap house.
Yep.
So whatever that means, I used to say it. Do I regret it? Absolutely, Jeff. I regret it. But, oh well. We can only go forward. No looking back. There's something else I was going to say. I'm suddenly having a difficult time remembering it.
Sybil found the joke that I wasn't going to say on air, if you want to read it.
Oh, is it on?
It's on the chat.
I had to close the YouTube chat because Zoom kept telling me, like, yo, dude, fucking up. Oh, sorry, I said a bad word. I'm a bad person. I said frugging up. That's what I said.
He said fugga.
Yeah, exactly. You could tell that there wasn't a CK in there.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin your stream.
It was double G. Get it right.
Who said it?
Sybil. Not his last comment, but the comment before that one. LaCroix is like drinking Sprite.
Wait a minute. I don't see this.
You don't see it? It's in the YouTube chat. It's there. YouTube chat. Oh well, don't worry about it.
I'm the worst. I'm scrolling. I don't see it. See it.
It's only like 7 up. It's not that far up. He has a LaCroix tastes like when someone ate fruit salad and burped into your water bottle.
Dang it.
It's a good one. I love all these that are coming through, by the way.
Huh. Yeah, this is not on mine. I wonder how far back my chat is.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, sorry. The #1 comment on mine is from Americano's Worth. It's dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even see that one. All right.
What?
Are you on the right channel?
I'm on the right channel.
Gosh.
I'm on the right channel. I'm on it. I can see my face.
All right. We're moving on. We're out of time. Rhett's pulling the show down.
Gosh, guys, technology is hard. If I was prepared, I could have read it, but... All right. Closing chat again. I'm on Discord, though.
Okay.
I'm chatting with folks. They told me that I look like Dave Grohl, which is true and a compliment, and I thank you, because he's like one of my rock and roll heroes. So
I freaking love Dave Grohl.
Yeah, who doesn't, man?
Have you seen the was it the Swedish was he in Sweden when he broke his leg on stage?
Oh, dude, yeah. That show is epic.
No. So the show itself is epic because he falls off the stage, he breaks his leg. And he literally goes, "Someone go get me a shot of whiskey right now." And so someone ran off stage, got him like a 2 or 2.5 ounce of whiskey, and he just slammed it.
Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of painkillers. And they hauled it, or he's sitting there on the stage, and they're still playing.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Anyway, a doctor happened to be in the crowd and ran up and was like holding his leg in place. And basically the story goes that he's like, "You need to go to the hospital." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep playing. We're going to play this concert." And by the way, he fell on the first freaking song of the concert.
Yeah.
So he falls off the stage, breaks his leg. The doctor is literally holding his leg in place. He's putting pressure onto his knee and holding his femur in place because he's afraid that if he lets it go, it'll hit an artery. It'll create nerve and muscle damage. Like Dave Grohl may never walk again unless I hold his leg in place and brace it, because we have nothing to brace it with. And so for the next 2.5 hours, this guy is holding Dave Grohl's leg and listening to the concert like this.
Yeah. Could you imagine he's like, yo, I'm a doctor, but in fact, he's like not. He's just got like a super crush on Dave Grohl. And he's like, if I don't hold this, you're going to die. It's like,
now, to be fair, so this happened in Sweden. I believe it was Sweden. They brought Dave Grohl onto a talk show in Sweden, and they were talking about the incident and whatnot. And he goes, "Yeah, it was the most intense thing. Slam the whiskey, and show must go on." And I come right back for I forget what song he came back on and whatnot, but he said, "Yeah, the doctor's just sitting there like holding my leg in place and staring at me, going, 'You got to go to the hospital.'" And it's like, "I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah.
Anyway, the doctor was there. They invited the doctor to the show, and so they got a nice reunion hug and everything else, and they got a huge laugh out of the whole thing.
See, my Dave Grohl moment for me, it's like there's so many of them. Obviously, it's like Nirvana was.
You all tuned in for this, not the tech talk, right?
Yeah, sorry guys. Nirvana is like my favorite band, and when Nirvana got inducted into the Hall of Fame, Dave Grohl gave like the acceptance speech, and it was just the best thing ever because he goes up there, and everybody's being like so like they're just so worried about decorum and all this stuff. He goes up there, and I kid you not, he said the F word like 50 times. Yeah. And it was just like got me right here, And I remember like my mother-in-law,
man of my own heart, right there.
My mother-in-law goes, "Why is he cussing so much?" And he literally goes, "And anybody who says I cuss too much can go F themselves."
That's perfect.
Oh, I just loved it. And then
you invited an 80s and 90s rock and roller to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to accept induction. And you expected him to be like, "I'd like to thank the Academy for bringing me here today."
Yeah, exactly. and then of course he goes off on people who are
nothing
saying,
but
like,
love, guys. Nothing but love.
Yeah, he goes off on the people that are saying like rock and roll's dead, and he goes, "Are you kidding me, man? There's still people out there making music, doing all this crazy." I just love that guy. He's the best. Did you happen to see Post Malone and Travis Barker do a Nirvana tribute?
No.
Live stream I think it was last week.
Do I want to?
It's so good, man. Everybody knows Post Malone.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I'm one of the Post Malone can go suck it ones.
Dude,
I hate his music.
Convert you. It might convert you. If you like Nirvana.
It may make me like that song. May make me like a cover that he did.
Here's the thing. I'd never liked Post Malone, and then I saw him do some concerts where he was like, I'm done doing this thing. I'm going to play guitar. And he grabs the guitar and he just starts like doing his thing. And it's like not the best, but it's like you could tell how much he likes doing it. He's the type of guy who, if he wasn't doing his like trap career, he would be in a punk band or something. It's like he does like the whole Kurt Cobain bit in this tribute concert.
Spiel.
Yeah, I was gonna say spiel, but bit.
I know spiel.
Spiel. But
spiel.
He does.
He said spiel, guys.
Yeah, spiel.
Spiel.
I'm trying not to cuss. Get off my butt. But Travis Barker plays drums. He obviously kills it because he kills everything he does on drums. He has a whole band. I don't know who the other two people are personally, but man, he nails it. He opens up with like one of my top 3 favorite Nirvana songs, Francis Farmer Will Have a Revenge. And he just kills it. And then he goes right into Drain You, which is like in my top 5 favorite Nirvana songs, and just kills it. You can tell they play like for more than an hour.
Yeah,
it's so good. And they never play Smells Like Teen Spirit, which like if you know Nirvana, that is like the number one no. If you're gonna tribute Nirvana, you don't play Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Exactly. And I if you're gonna cover a band, you don't play the number one song that everyone goes to see that band for.
Exactly.
If you're a Metallica cover band, you don't play Whiskey in a Jar. If you're, there's rules to all of this. If you are a Michael Jackson cover band, what's the rule there? Because he's got so many.
Thriller?
I was gonna say either Thriller or Beat It. Like those are the 2 that you don't do.
Yeah. And there's probably a bunch more, but that's kind of like the big 2.
Those are the 2 though. Yeah. You just leave those alone. You let the original artists keep their moment in the spotlight. Unless you can do something incredibly wild with it. Unless you have taken a brand new spin and it is the best thing I have ever heard. If you're a Jeff Cohen cover band, you don't cover Hallelujah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's but my favorite ever Nirvana moment is Dave Grohl was playing a music festival, and Rick Astley happened to be there,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that would be
right,
great.
right. So they did a metal cover of "Never Gonna Give You Up" with Rick Astley singing it, and that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Dude, that'd be legit. But that's the thing, man. Like Rick Astley, he totally leans into like what's made him famous. Like he doesn't shy away
Right.
from the fact that like Rick rolls and all that stuff.
He loves it. He
Yeah,
loves every minute of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He made a whole album that was like kind of like a spoof on I'm pretty sure he created an album a couple years ago and it was like a spoof on Adele's album. Not a spoof, that's the wrong word, but it was like I think he was like looking at like what was number one in the charts and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
Adele's number one in the charts. And I think he kind of like tipped his hat to her. He like named his album this in the same because I think she had an album called like 28 or something like that because she was 20
Yeah.
old when it came out. So he created one like, and it was the age he was when it came out, and like some of the songs,
57.
yeah, right. And it was like some of the song titles were like tipping his hat to Adele and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, the cover of "Never Gonna Give You Up" was so cool because it was just a touch faster. Like most live concerts are just a touch faster than the studio recordings. It's just always, it's human nature. You go just a little bit faster. But the beat on it was so much more intense. It wasn't just the electronic drums in the background. It was literally the drum beat to "Smells Like Teen Spirit" in the background of "Never Gonna Give You Up." It was heavy. It was hard, and it was quick, and it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't ever see that one, but
yeah, look it up. It's there's a couple different versions of it on YouTube, and there's one that's like perfect audio.
Nice. Yo, just so
anyway,
you know, though, Nice Bryce is saying that the Post Malone tribute concert was overhyped.
Yeah, and see, that's my initial impression hearing Post Malone cover anything, whether someone's covering Post Malone or Post Malone covered someone. Like my reaction is, eh.
I think you might dig it. Like, obviously, it's not mind blowing or anything like that, but it's solid, man. For like a quarantine concert, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Next story.
I mean, it's like, what's the worst cover crossover I can think of? It's like, oh, Kid Rock covered Rascal Flatts.
Or, dude, like, you know what's the worst is like that Kid Rock song about they like take Sweet Home Alabama mixed with Werewolf in London or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
singing Sweet Home Alabama all summer long. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like?
I know that song. I know that song way too well.
We were smoking fun at things. Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, get out of here, man. Like, Kid Rock's the worst. Like, you know, I was trying to tell my wife about this song, you know, because what's the one song? And I was like, you never heard that song? It's like, ball with the ball, and I didn't even know the words. If you type
that into Google, you'll get the song name. I'm not even kidding.
What's funny is like, I didn't even know what the song name was called. And I was looking through Kid Rock's discography or whatever, and I was like, "What the hell is that song called?" And because it's like the devil, ball with a ba. That's what it's called. And I was like, "Is that a song about a witch or something?"
Okay, this is really funny. So I was trying to prove a point here about if you just type like scatting a melody into Google, you'll get what it's supposed to be. And my example was going to be, what's that song that goes, boop, and all I have to do is that, and everyone goes, oh yeah, that's that saxophone dude. What's funny is I typed that into Google, and what I got is, what's the song at the end of Rick and Morty episode 4? Which is that song, but it's someone asking what that song is.
Wait, though, what's the song? Because your audio's cutting out for me. When you sing it cuts out.
Oh, sorry, I have RTX on. Hold on, one sec.
RTX off.
Yep, RTX off. Hold on, I got this here. Filters.
Because you're singing the sax and you're like leaning into it. It goes away for me. So
Yeah, but buena, buena, buena. Buena, 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 buena. Yeah, you know what the song is with like a line and a half.
Yeah.
Right.
Play it in every Safeway at 12:30 a.m.
Yeah, what's the song at the end of Rick and Morty episode 4? And what I typed in to get that was buena, buena, buena. You can totally do it with just about any popular lick.
That's funny.
Anyway, let's get into the tech news. We'll kind of rapid fire, then we'll just get back to shooting the breeze here.
Yeah, so we're back to Samsung.
Yeah, back to Samsung. So Samsung has a little bit of a secret that they've been kind of keeping. Now, this was announced not that long ago, but I don't know if it got kind of the hype that I think it might need. But Samsung has been seen as having a CPU chip, an Exynos chip, that has RDNA on board. And for those who don't know what RDNA is, that is literally AMD Navi graphics. It's AMD 7 nanometer graphics tech. And basically, Navi was developed for a lot of different purposes. It could be... I should probably grab RTX voice right now. Dude, I'm telling you, it's amazing. So when I started the show, our washer and dryer was going. That's why I had it turned on. And you couldn't hear it. And for those who watched my Patreon-only live stream yesterday, I had my Threadripper machine sitting right next to me, blaring the fans at 100% the entire time. And I had it on, and you couldn't tell. Anyway, Samsung's newest mobile Exynos chip, which may be used in both Chromebooks, ultralights, and mobile devices, has been seen with AMD RDNA on board, with early with Navi 10 based graphics on board, and that's kind of a big deal. We got some early benchmarks of a GFX Bench Manhattan 3.1 running at 181 frames per second. Which certainly isn't the fastest we've ever seen, but if you consider the whole package is probably less than 8 watts, that is freaking impressive.
Yep.
And comparing it to the earlier Snapdragons, the Snapdragon 865 is scored a 63.2. So we're literally seeing 3 times the graphics performance on what is basically an evolutionary jump in the Samsung CPU technology, but a revolutionary jump on the graphics side of things. This is likely going to lead to a lot more powerful graphics tech at pretty equal wattage levels for your mobile devices. And whether or not you're a mobile gamer, but think beyond mobile games, think into, the Nintendo Switch runs on a Tegra X1, an NVIDIA chip, which they've been kind of leading the mobile graphics charge for quite a while, outside of Snapdragon, and I'd even give Raspberry Pi the nod there with their mobile chips. They've been kind of near the top of the charge. All of a sudden, AMD's coming on board, and they're saying, whoa, we have a chip that can compete in this market space. And this could be huge for set-top boxes, smart TVs, mobile devices, mobile gaming, mobile game consoles. You go down the list, and it's a surprisingly competitive marketplace. Does this remind anyone else of the Skull Canyon Nook, just on ARM instead? The Skull Canyon Nook is really cool, and I can't wait for them to come down in price, because for me, that's like the ultimate home arcade system. It's small, it's lightweight, it is super powerful, and it is super compact with a Vega 20 on board. If you get a model with the i7-8808G. I would freaking love one of those. Tegra is so gross, right, but they're the only one kind of there. Outside of the traditional mobile manufacturers of Snapdragon, Samsung, Kyocera. There's not a lot of competition in the mobile GPU space. And for AMD to be entering that as well, with the same tech that's seeing some success on the desktop side, literally just scaled down to a very minor wattage, that's cool. That's very, very impressive. How can NVIDIA rule the DGPU market but suck so bad at iGPU? I don't know. Probably the same way that Intel can rule the desktop market for so long and suck at integrated graphics themselves. It's just where your priorities are at and what you're willing to optimize and what you're willing to put your research and development into. If NVIDIA sees it as a minor space, it's going to get minor R&D dollars, which means it's going to get minor results. $4.99, Big Spoon. How much money did you get from the lawsuit settlement with Bite My Bits? I'm actually on an NDA with that. I cannot disclose how much. You can read the full settlement. That is public. You can read the full settlement of the lawsuit. I'm just thankful it's over. It's been over for about a month, and I'm just personally ready for people to drop it.
You know, sadly, I didn't sign an NDA, but out of solidarity with my friend and colleague, I won't disclose either.
Right. Well, an NDA means you can't know either, Rhett. So even disclosing that can actually cost me major money. So
fair enough. But I read
so
the
Rhett
fine
disavows
print.
all knowledge of this situation.
I read the fine print. It was not airtight, Jeff. That's what I'm saying. But hey, like, look, I'm giving you some solidarity.
Did Jason tell you he's trying to hire you under my back, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He's been going behind your back here.
That's a little snake.
But it's all right, Jeff, because you had me sign a non-compete. So
that's right. You cannot work in this industry for another 3 years. You know what you did. I can't take him to Vegas again. That and state police won't let him cross the line, so, you know.
Well, not just state police, okay? You're forgetting the feds. Feds.
I told you not to put that in your backpack, man.
Well, look, I'm just hoping that Vegas doesn't remember when this is all over. I mean, whatever. Get out of here.
Yeah. Moving right along. Apple has finally killed the butterfly keyboard and introducing a little bit of magic with the Magic Keyboard. Magic Keyboard. Oh, it's magic. You know. Yep. Introducing the Apple Magic Keyboard, because everything they do is magical anymore.
Is it?
Like creating a mouse with the charger on the bottom of it. Anyway, the brand new 13-inch MacBook Pros have an all-new mechanical design known as the Magic Keyboard. No longer the butterfly. The butterfly is dead.
Good. Nobody liked the butterfly.
I personally like the butterfly, but I got the very first iteration of the butterfly, and mine has never had a problem. I have a 12-inch MacBook that I use pretty much for a lot of my traveling work, and for remoting into servers or remote client access, that kind of thing. And I've never had a problem, and it's a wonderful keyboard to type on. I'm not going to deny the typing feel of that keyboard. It's magnificent for a device that weighs about 1.5 pounds and is fanless. But there's obviously been some problems with the butterfly keyboard failing. That has been a long documented problem.
Yeah, it's kind of like the number one issue that I've heard about or heard complained about over the last few years.
Yep. So yeah, the 13-inch has the all-new keyboard. It's expected to come to the 15 and 16-inch later this year, and hopefully with some revamped 12-inch or 13-inch MacBooks here very shortly. I personally really like the MacBook line because when I'm looking for a laptop, I'm looking for as thin, light, and long-lasting battery as possible. If I've got to wait an extra 3 seconds, I understand I'm working on a laptop. And most of my work is pretty lightweight anyway when I'm traveling. If I need to do any video editing, even then I've got my Dell Inspiron 13 with a Ryzen 2500U. It usually gets the job done. Although I am thinking about getting an Asus Zephyrus G14 with a 4900HS 12-core processor and a RTX 2060. How could you not? That thing is amazing. RTX hidden features, bad karaoke. I'm a karaoke god, I'll have you know. Gosh. People just have no respect anymore. That's the problem. Just for you guys, I'm going to turn RTX back on. Deal with it.
You get the Discord chats on YouTube still?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
They don't cross to YouTube, but I have Restream, so they both show up.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Scotty says, I hate typing on the butterfly keyboard. I love the butterfly keyboard. I'm one of those people that thinks it is one of the perfect mobile keyboards when it works. It's been a wonderful keyboard for me. So,
well, there goes right under the bank account that Apple check. Way to go, Jeff.
Yep.
Keep it coming.
Your video is frozen again. I'll have you know.
Oh, dang it! All right.
You know, for a second, that preview kind of looked like, I want to say like a gosh, what was that? Family Ties. Like, you think of the old, like, 80s sitcom intros. Show me that smile again.
Oh, no.
You're just kind of leaning forward doing the...
Yeah, why not?
Right. Totally. Anyway, so, as I promised, I'm done with my beer now. There you go. I am going to move on to the Big Bottom Small Batch Barlow Trail American blended whiskey finished in port casks, 91 proof, distilled, excuse me. I'm so used to saying brewed. Distilled right here in Hillsboro, Oregon.
You got a Big Bottom.
Yep.
Go ahead and pour me some too. In your glass.
Yeah. Here you go.
Oh, wow. You're really doing it. How dare you tease me like that? I would just meant you could pour a little extra in your glass if you want. Just a little, like half a finger.
Oh yeah. So we'll
smells like rubbing alcohol to me.
I'm sure it does to you, you uncultured swine.
How dare you, sir? I will have you know. That's all.
Here you go. There you go, Rhett. Now you can see it.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Drink up there, buddy.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. God. I'm so glad you were in the small frame for that. That was frightening. I had to watch that in full screen.
Well, what can I say? I've got a
now I'm out of focus
horrifying
again.
visage.
There we go. All right, we're back in focus. It's not just me. This smells way more like cognac than it does like whiskey. I want to say that first off.
It looks like it would, though.
Right. I mean, it's the same color as cognac. In fact, I have some brandy and some cognac over on the shelf. I don't want to say it has like the wormwood kind of smell to it that a lot of cognacs do, but I'm getting kind of that same, almost like raisiny kind of smell. Well, that is interesting. Whew. A little bit more harsh than I was expecting. It's I'm gonna have to dive for flavors in this one a little bit more.
Too complex for your simple palate?
I will say, usually my first straight shot of any kind of a liquor, just when it hits my tongue, all of a sudden my salivary glands just go nuts and it fills my mouth. And so I could probably fill this with spit in about 3 minutes. And it's just a reaction I have on my first drink. And then the second drink, it's usually a lot more smooth. So if I've had a good strong beer beforehand, then it's not so bad. Whew.
I will say I really like the color on that.
It's a beautiful color.
It
really
looks like
is.
burgundy or like
yeah.
Oh.
It's got kind of almost like a dark unfiltered red cider kind of look to it.
Yeah.
Or like a rhubarb kind of a color.
I can see that.
Yeah. Aged in port barrels. Yes, sir. Right there. Scott says the appearance looks like Angel's Envy for sure, at least on camera. It's a similar color. Yeah, and it's a dark, dark red. I mean, it's still crystal clear, but it's. I mean, you can see the difference in the bottle, just how dark that bottle is. I can barely see through the bottle. Anyway, $1.99 Big Spoon. Happy anniversary to the Rutledges. Happy anniversary, my friends over there in Big and Little Spoon. I'm gonna call your wife Little Spoon. I hope that's okay.
That is a cute nickname.
That's a perfect nickname, if I do say so myself. But here we go. I'm gonna give this another little sniff here. Lot smoother. So it almost tastes like a brandy. That is weird. And I know port brandy. There's a lot in common there, but this tastes like a really, really rich port. There's not a lot of whiskey in here. This is like just a super strong port. Like if I'm drinking a 91 proof port, that's what this tastes like. Cask aged my butt. This is port, and I kind of like it.
Like port is like kind of like a dessert thing, isn't it? Like kind of like
it's a dessert wine, right?
The only time I'm
craving a creme brulee right now.
Right,
I totally am.
That's exactly where I was going with this. The only time I ever had port was like one time. My friend has some rather affluent parents, took us out to this meal. We ended up spending like $800 for 5 people on a meal.
Uh-huh. I've done one of those.
Yeah, we did one of those one night in Vegas.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
And
my wife still doesn't know about that.
My bad. Hopefully she doesn't see the stream. No, honestly, the only thing
watch my videos.
The only thing that even compares to this weird $800 meal I had was one of our nights in Vegas. And it was like we had this weird meal, and we had Italian food at this fancy restaurant, and the person who was treating us insisted, like, first we had to do pre-dinner cocktails. That was a must. Yes, then we had to have like a bottle of red wine at dinner, like picked by the sommelier. Yeah. Then we had freaking port afterwards, and we had to sit there and like talk about the meal and shit after stuff. Dang it! But it was like the weirdest thing, man. I was drinking this port. I was like, it just tastes like a sweet kind of red. Mm-hmm. Like, it was so weird. It was like, that's the only time I ever had port. And then we had creme brulee. That's where I was going with that.
No. Whenever I go to a nice Italian restaurant, just like I will go to any bar and I will order an old fashioned.
Yeah.
And whatever old fashioned you give me, I will judge you by your old fashioned. Every cocktail you make, every beer you serve, every coffee you barista, I will judge your organization by that old fashioned. Because it's how much you care about the fine details and how easy that cocktail should be to make is how I will judge your bar. If you pay attention to that, you'll pay attention to most of the other little things. And 9 times out of 10, it's true.
Where does the old fashioned you had at the Starbucks roastery last 2 years ago?
That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
that is.
I still think about that place.
I still think about that place, and we're going to go back there this year. Whether PAX is happening or not, we are going to the Starbucks roastery. We are drinking there again. I don't care if I have to pay a weekend for us or not. We're going to go up there. That'll be our treat if they cancel PAX. We'll just drive up to the roastery and vlog it. Anyway, that is one of the best old fashions I've ever had made at an establishment. I'm not gonna lie. But there's a couple places locally that do it phenomenally. Rhett, I took you to the little speakeasy I know of, and we got a smoked old fashioned.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good.
I've also been to a couple of bars, and one really disappointed me down in Corvallis, where it was literally crushed ice and an orange wedge and two bright red maraschino cherries, and she mashed the living hell out of them. And then she gave me 1 ounce of whiskey and topped it with Sprite.
Does that make you feel bad though? Because she's like, yo, I'm making the best old fashioned ever. Like she probably thought it was really good.
She knows she's not making the best old fashioned ever. If she's in it for, and I know I'm a little bit judgy here. I understand. But Google's bartender Google's old fashioned. LOL actually had that. I mean, she was literally 16 ounces of Jim Beam away from the Mahalo.com old fashioned. It was like everything in it but the pint glass.
Right.
And it was awful. It was totally awful. And whether that's the bar saying this is our bar mix for how you make an old fashioned, or whether that is her saying this is how I make an old fashioned, I still judge you because that's not an old fashioned. If I'm ordering a cocktail, I expect to taste the elements that are supposed to be in it. By the way, there were not even bitters in that drink. That was whiskey and Sprite with a little bit of orange and maraschino cherry.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And it was watery as heck. And it was just...
It's a college town. What do you expect?
Yeah, it was just not a good drink. And I look at these places and they have all the right materials, but no one puts them together right. And anyway, long story short, I will judge a bar by your old fashioned. I will judge a coffee place usually by your cappuccino. No, because it takes a little bit of thought. You steam it. How well did you steam it?
I guess cappuccino is a pretty fair measure.
It's got a little bit of everything that you need to do as a barista. How well did you do it?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I just hate cream, so that's kind of where I'm at.
See, I like cream. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just, for some reason, my mind was going someplace else, and then you said cappuccino. And in hindsight,
what would you judge a barista by?
Well, maybe not a barista. I think a cappuccino is a good measure of a barista. Mm-hmm. I feel like a
coffee place. How would you judge a coffee place?
Honestly, I judge a coffee place by its black coffee or its Americano.
Yep. Like Americano is like my number 2.
Yeah.
So if I'm going and I'm like, this is the new coffee place, I'll take either a cappuccino and however you make it, or an Americano.
Yeah. And see, with the Americano, like you're just getting the pure taste of like the quality of their beans, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Like and then there's even, dude, this is how deep you can get into Americano. Like apparently there's some debate amongst Australians and the rest of the world as like
Scott says short story long. That's what I'm known for. It's what I do. I ramble.
Unfortunately, like, isn't that the curse of all of us at Craft Computing?
That's why these shows started as 60-minute shows. Literally, the first show was 58 minutes. And in fact, early on, we struggled to get past an hour. I think there was one that was 52 minutes long. And here we are now struggling to stay within 2.
See, in music, they have a hand symbol for this, and it's this. Vamp. Just keep going, baby. Just keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop. Don't. Yep. All right. Anyway, but as far as
stay on this 12 bar and you go
forever.
Yep.
The thing with Americano, apparently there's some debate between Australians and the rest of the world. How do you make an Americano? I think it's Australians think that it is or rather, I'm sorry, not Americano, but there's another drink. And here in Oregon, I think we call it a shot in the dark. I'm not sure by what other names it goes, but it is coffee, then espresso, whereas Americano is water and espresso.
Yeah.
So I think Australia thinks that the best way to do it is coffee, then espresso on top, but the rest of the world thinks that it's espresso, then coffee on top. Yeah. Personally, I prefer the way the Australians do it. That's just where I'm at.
I'm not going to lie. I do prefer that way as well.
Why not? Why not?
And I will judge an Italian restaurant by their creme brulee.
Oh, why not, man? Because that's one of those things where the finer details are appreciated.
Exactly. And that's where all your fine detail work comes in. That's how much attention is the chef paying? How fine is that crust? How good is the custard inside? bring it to my table flaming if you want bonus points. I'm supposed to be able to blow that out when it arrives. If it arrives with a pre-glaze on it, that means you took a torch to it and blew it out yourself. I'm not game for that. So and I have little tests like this for a lot of different places. When I'm testing out different restaurants or bars or menus or burger places, I'll say, give me what should be the thing you're best at. If I go to a bar, you should be best at making an old fashioned, a Manhattan, a mint julep. You go down
your homemade whiskey sour too. That's
right.
One of my go-tos.
Yeah. That one kind of sketches me out because sometimes they can get a little weird.
I don't care how weird your homemade is. It's like if I can tell that it didn't come out of a bottle.
You've had my whiskey sours.
Oh yeah.
How good of a bartender am I?
Dude, you're one of the best cocktail makers that I know firsthand.
I want to spin up a second channel and post like all the other ideas that I have. And one of the things I want to do is cocktail recipes. Is start showing what I do in my free time and in my evening time.
Jeff's one of the only people I know that he's having a party for himself, right? This is his birthday party. He spends 75% of the time making cocktails for other people.
I love it.
Other people have birthday parties, man, and they're just like, yo, make me whatever you want.
Yeah.
Jeff's like, what cocktail do you want? If I don't have the exact ingredients, we got a close approximation.
Right.
No, man, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. You show up to my house for my birthday, and it's like, what can I make you? And it's like, I don't know, like 7 and 7. I'm like, no, get real. What can I make you?
Well, let's not knock the 7 and 7 too hard.
Let's not knock the 7 and 7. But if you're coming to my house, like think a little higher. Set your sights a little bit higher.
That's true. Yeah. I was a little surprised by what you were willing to make when I was there.
Whatever you want. That's why I buy all this stuff. That's why I keep it on stock. We judge family places by their tenderloin and or their country fried steak. Country fried steak is one thing I will judge a family diner by.
Yeah, for real, right? What is up with that?
Country fried steak, chicken and biscuits. Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah. See, for a 24-hour diner, too, it's all about the country fried steak for me. It's like, how well can you make this at 3 a.m.?
Yep.
Oh, good Lord. We're getting way off track here.
That's all right.
We
didn't have much news, and so I knew if we got off track, it was going to be fine. That's why I haven't really tried to steer us back. We only have 3 stories left, and we got 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So and 2 of them are just like hacks. So
yeah.
I do want to get to the last story though. So let's go ahead and rapid fire these 2 real quick. Starting with
Roblox, baby.
Right, Roblox. Yeah. Roblox has been hacked. Rather, has been social engineered / bribed to give up millions of users' data to an unknown source. This is a classic story. This is social engineering at its finest. This is finding an employee who doesn't like his job very much, who goes, hey, if I give you like $10,000, can you give me a roster, email, address, credit card of every single user that's in your database? Yeah, I need $10,000. Okay, here. That's all this was.
That's easy. Dang, is it that easy?
Yep. Apparently it's that easy. Do we know who, or not who, but how much they paid? That's what I kind of wanted to know.
I don't know.
I don't remember seeing it.
I'm super unhelpful. I'll use Control F for you here.
Yeah, I did that too, and I can't find a $sign. So.
I did the word paid, and the only time it comes up is the hacker first paid an insider to look up data about its users, then targeted a customer support representative.
Yep.
They said they did it to quote unquote prove a point. Dang.
Right.
Dang.
As all white hat hackers do. Rather than approaching the company and saying, hey, you have a problem with your customer support, they were willing to take a cash payment and divulge sensitive customer information. They held it for themselves and sold it.
Hey, baby.
It was just to prove a point, bro. Yo, it's just a prank.
Welcome to capitalism, baby.
Why not profit off both sides? Get a little bit of that finder's fee money and profit on what you found. You know?
Yo, I could be totally wrong about this. But I think my game development podcast, we interviewed a gentleman who was a developer on Roblox.
Did you?
Yeah, I think we did. I can't. I'm like struggling to recall his credentials, but I'm like 95% sure that he was like a developer of like levels on Roblox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And if you're listening, I'm really sorry that I got your credentials wrong.
You know, whatever the heck you did, you work for Roblox. What more do you want? You got paid. No, you didn't.
I think he got paid. I could be
Did
wrong,
he get paid?
But like
Nice.
he's like the only person like that we've had on our podcast that's like a legitimate like pays all of his bills and makes a living with like game development.
Bro, I'm right here.
Well, I said game development.
Yeah, game development.
Yeah.
Yeah. As if you've had nobody on your show.
That's not what I said. I said the only person who's paid his bills with game development.
My fee just doubled. You owe me 2 pints to come on your show now.
2 pints? I was already giving you 3. This is a discount.
It's just been revoked.
Anyway, that was a side little. I thought that was. I think about Roblox and I think about this person's name. And he also worked on Medal of Honor. So there you
go. So Scotty says, so Jeff's house for his birthday. Cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You're invited if you can find it.
Dude, somebody photoshopped a kiss face on my shirt. That's dumb. Put something else. Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is. That doesn't even represent what I was going for with this.
He was going with Peter Criss.
No, I wouldn't even go for Peter. Stop it, Jeff. I was just trying to be like, you know.
And now Scott Filton says, all I want is chicken and waffles, and now so do I.
Yeah.
You know what ticks me off about my most recent trip to Vegas? I didn't get my chicken and waffles. I not only didn't get my chicken and waffles, I also didn't get my barbecue.
Dude,
I didn't stop to the 2 places I wanted to stop.
You took me all the way out to Vegas, and you're like, yo, dude, there's this place that's got the best chicken and waffles at 2:00 in the morning. We didn't even go.
No, it wasn't the best chicken and waffles. It was the steak and eggs breakfast. It was the 9-ounce sirloin for $5.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
We didn't go. I attended that 3 times this year because we stayed in that hotel.
Oh.
So Steve and I stayed in that hotel. We didn't stay in the little grungy one just off the strip.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Was it that grungy? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
It was not good.
But you're forgetting about all the memories we made in that dirty parking lot outside, where all the drug users were.
The 2017 Nissan Versa. With room enough for 1.5.
Yeah. It's like the American dream. 2.5 children. Let's go ahead and knock out this next story so we can get to this other one, because I have a way of derailing us. GoDaddy
was also hacked. Someone on their side who had SSL credentials logged into GoDaddy servers, vandalized the servers, and made away with 28,000 users' SSL certificates. Was it the fugitive is still at large? Yeah, GoDaddy spokesman said on April 23rd, 2020, we identified SSH usernames and passwords had been compromised through an altered SSH file in our hosting environment, affecting approximately 28,000 customers. We immediately reset those usernames and passwords, removed the offending SSH file from our platform, and have had no indication the threat actor used our customers' credentials or modified customer hosting accounts. However, I will say that doesn't mean they didn't use those credentials, and this does still constitute a breach.
Yeah.
Because someone had unauthorized access to your system, either uploaded files or downloaded user data. One of the 2 things happened. Quote, to be clear, said GoDaddy's Fuller, the threat actor did not have access to customers' main GoDaddy accounts. Although, from what I'm hearing, is if they had SSH access to the root server, they still may have, depending on what access their SSH credentials gave them. So I'm taking GoDaddy's stance with a grain of salt because while I don't know their statements to be untrue, I've also seen attacks very similar to this end very badly for the hosting company. And so often when a breach like this happens, unless your security is legitimately top notch, and I mean rotation on passwords, credentials, certificates, 8021X authentication, et cetera, and extremely finite and specific credentials given to particular user groups, which I'm not saying GoDaddy doesn't have, but I've more often than not seen that sort of thing lapse slightly on the internal side of things. And so I kind of want to see how this one plays out and if any more comes of this story. Now, if what GoDaddy's saying is true and their security was 100% up to spec, they dodged a major bullet. Because someone having SSH creds to 28,000 customers and then not using them is not the sort of thing that usually happens. So, who knows? Who knows?
So y'all better use HostGator now.
HostGator. But they don't have Danica Patrick. She knows everything about web hosting.
No, but they have a blue alligator.
They have a blue alligator. I want to go with the same hosting company that made the graphics for the General Insurance.
Is that GoDaddy?
No.
Oh.
Have you seen the General Insurance commercials?
Yeah.
The N64 level graphics overlaid onto real video. Yeah.
They get
I want to use
every year.
whoever they decided to go with for a hosting company.
Oh, I got you.
That's who I want.
Yeah.
That's the quality engineering I'm looking for.
Well, the General is discount insurance, and they use discount graphics, baby. So
right. Spare no expense
in
your advertising.
Get what you pay for.
Yeah.
But hey, if y'all want to use HostGator, just hit me up for those affiliate links, baby. I got a little.
You know what? If Geico can teach a gecko to speak, then General Insurance should up their game a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe. Why don't they hit us up? We can run their company for them.
Yeah.
I'd do that. Why not? I was just shopping for car insurance the other day. I went with Geico because they were the cheapest.
If I watered this 50-50, it'd be one of the best ports I've ever had.
Water it down, baby. Give it a splash of water.
Right.
Why not, man? People knock everybody for doing that,
I don't think I will.
There's a reason that you're allowed to do it.
Right.
Most of the whiskey,
what is the best whiskey? What is the best whiskey in the world? The whiskey you like to drink. And what's the best way to drink it? However you want to drink it.
Did you see the Pope? There's that that story came out of the Pope because these Irish students were studying at the Vatican, and as is traditional, they brought a gift from their homeland, so they brought Irish whiskey, and the Pope was giving them not oh, thank you, the Vatican thanks you for this. He flat out was given a personalized response, and he holds it up and he goes, this is the water of life,
the water of life,
and he puts it down. And I was just like, dude, good for you.
No, what he said was, this is the real water of life.
Right, the real water of life. Yeah, that's right. Well, and I think if I'm not wrong, it's the Gaelic word for whiskey translates
is water of life.
Water of life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just fun, The Vatican was you got to take this out of your video. However,
no, but the thing that irritates me so much about that is, and I'm going to say this quite literally, God forbid the Vatican show a little bit of humanity.
Right. Yeah, I thought.
Right.
When I heard that story, dude. I don't know, man. This Pope has just been so down to earth. He's everything I think that the image of the Catholic Church needs. It's he had a very down to earth life before becoming involved in the faith. Mm-hmm. He's the first non-European man to become the Pope. All of these things, and he's so down to earth. I remember in his first year. He just casually mispronounced an Italian word that was the equivalent of the American F word, Yeah. And he just moves on with his life, other people, they would have been I can't believe the Pope said it. But he just basically was oh, my bad. And kept going,
Right.
Yeah, Yeah, man. You know, I was 10 feet from the Pope when I was in Europe. Yeah. We went to the
cool.
papal blessing over Rome, and we got to be
Wow.
10 feet away from him.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was legit.
Cool.
It was legit. Kind of boring overall, but like also interesting to see.
Yes. Yeah. But it astounds me to no end. Not to make this like a religious conversation or anything like that, but the standards at which we hold people to, because we're all human. And I, like I said, I don't want to make this political, religious, whatever.
Nah, man.
But you realize we're all faulty. We're all.
Oh yeah.
We all have our own thoughts. We all have our weak moments. We all have, you've sworn 5 times in this thread.
My bad.
Like, we try to keep it family friendly.
To be
you
fair,
made a mistake. Guess what?
They had softer consonants. So, like, did I really? But yes, you're not wrong.
Right. But it's like, in one breath, we might crucify you for doing that. And in another breath, we're going to forgive a politician for, like, literal rape.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, well, she was asking for it, or he's such a good person, and it was a moment of personal weakness, so he literally attacked this woman. Like, what standards are we holding who to, and why isn't it the same standards across the board? Like, that's what I can never understand.
You preaching to the choir with me, dude.
Right.
Preaching to the choir with choir, not the crier, but may as well be.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I heard a good quote, and it's not exactly what you're in line with, but I was listening to a podcast just yesterday, actually. And he said the number one way, no matter which side of this debate you fall on, like religious or atheist, whatever, the number one way you make an ass of yourself is when you interpret all this stuff, like literally, talking about like religion. And it's like, oh, dang. Yeah. Like, just goes to show you, like, the thing that makes everybody kind of like look stupid is kind of like the same, no matter where you fall onto it.
Yeah.
And I think like judging too harshly, or like not even too hard, you know what I mean? But it's like exactly what you said. I'm right. Yeah. I'm walking myself right into a pit here that I want to get myself out of without being on camera, but I can't do it. But yeah,
anyway,
man,
I think we all agree.
It doesn't make any sense to me, and you nailed it right on the head. Like,
the standards should be the same, and the grievance and the level of which should be taken into account every single time.
Right, exactly.
I say the F word all the time. I swear like a sailor off camera.
Exactly.
I do.
Exactly.
But I also hold myself to a certain level on camera, and if I slip up, I slip up, and it's a mistake. I didn't beat someone half to death because they were standing in my driveway. And so.
I mean, and that's just the problem with like recording public opinion in general. You know what I mean? Right. It's like we got a bunch of our dear friends watching this, and it's like however many thousand of you end up watching this thing. It's like we can explain away any single thing that we get away with because y'all are watching and y'all know us. You've been here since episode 1 or episode 25 or whatever. But like somebody else come along and they go, oh, wait a minute, man, this guy said fruggin' or whatever, and they take my clip of me saying, yo, I frugged up, and they put it online, and everyone's like, that guy said frugged, can you believe it? But like all the people near and dear to us that are tuning in, week out, checking with us on the Discord or in the YouTube chat, like they're like, yo, dude, frugged is one of our favorite inside jokes or something. I don't know, but it's
anyway
crazy.
Let's steer. Let's
move away from this. Yeah.
There's no clean way to exit, so let's just drop.
Man, you nailed it on the head though. But anyway,
this one was kind of the unreal, no pun intended, drop of the week. And we knew some potential source code had been leaked upwards of a year ago for the original Super Mario Bros. 64. The raw assembly instruction of Super Mario Bros. 64. Someone has been able to recompile it and has actually reshared the source code and created a PC port that is legit perfect. Perfect widescreen support. It has controller support. By the way, Rhett, I downloaded it if you want it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have it. I am already 39 stars in as of like 2 hours last night. Just jamming away, and it is like the day that I brought Super Mario Brother 64 home for the first time. It is great.
Nice.
There's a couple of things you have to do to make it really playable, because by default it will run at whatever speed your graphics card will run it at.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're thinking 1996, 2020, 2080.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of power behind that. So I had to go into the NVIDIA control panel and limit it to 30 FPS, but and there's no settings within the application itself. You double click it and it goes, "It's me, Mario," and then fades out and then brings up the main screen, but there's no like graphic settings. There's been nothing altered from the original code.
Nice.
And so it starts up just like the N64 game would start up. So any tweaks that you want to make, you have to make in the your graphics card control panel. So the NVIDIA control panel, or AMD, whatever the heck they call it these days. I don't even know. So I went in there, I enabled anti-aliasing, triple buffering, everything else. And then I also limited it to 30 FPS because that's what it should be at. Otherwise, the game plays about 4 times too fast. The physics are based on the frame rate. Yeah. And so if you try to triple jump, you'll get about 3 feet off the ground at 90 FPS. And so you want to make sure to rate limit or to FPS limit your gameplay. But it looks phenomenal. It is crisp as all heck. And it plays legit perfectly. And the funny thing is, the executable is 6 megabytes.
Perfect.
It's 6 megabytes.
Dude, from the golden age of N64.
Oh, sorry, it's 24 megabytes after I compiled it. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
So, yeah.
Good Lord. No, that sounds legit. I would love just for the sake of journalism, just for the
right.
sake of...
I downloaded it for research purposes only. I'll have you know.
Exactly.
Gosh, there was this YouTube channel I used to watch all the time. What was the name of that? They did a bunch of crazy stuff with go-karts. And it was this guy who was living in South Carolina, and all they did was like rebuild go-karts. And it was cars and carts, or cameras and cars, or carts and cameras, I think it might have been. But it was primarily go-karts. And anyway, there was a guy on the show who would always say, we're not supposed to run it like this, and we're not going to run it like this for very long. We're just doing this for testing purposes. And I've taken that phrase so many times.
Exactly. That's all you
don't do what I'm doing. This is for testing purposes only. And it's great.
This one's for science.
But he had that perfect South Carolina, not really, I wouldn't call it a draw, but just enough of an accent for testing purposes.
I love that.
Just the right amount of lick to it.
Yeah.
It was always great. I've always loved that line. Anyway, I might get delivered my Tesla K20X today. Very nice.
Ooh.
Very nice. 2020, the year of hindsight, strikes again. Yeah. I can't believe no one commented on my joke that I put into my my Threadripper video, or my Epic video, which is 2020 is the year 2012 dreamed of being. Remember, 2012 was supposed to be the apocalypse. It was supposed to be the Mayan end of the world, and nothing ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're going, 2-inch devil wasps. Oh, add it to the apocalypse bingo.
Yeah, man. Remember, like, January 1st, we're all thinking, like, World War III is coming with the assassination of a high-profile military leader. Right. It's like, it's downhill every single day from there.
Right.
And it's like, we got murder hornets. We got other things going on. We got... I don't know, man. What else is going on? TP shortage? I'm sure it's related to the murder hornets in some way. It's wild out there. Hope you all are staying safe.
Give me about 6 seconds right here. 1 sec.
Yeah. Hey, I can vamp. I'm going to give you all one of these. Now, 2020 is one of those years, man. Like, I think everybody was like thinking like right as the countdown was happening, like, yo, 2020 is gonna be our year, man. Like things are gonna go back to normal. We're gonna get our feet under us. Nah, man. Nah. It's May. I haven't done one normal thing this year. Well, I've done normal things, but like life has not been normal since then. You know what I'm saying? I was giving him one of these, Jeff. Giving him one of these, the old vamp.
Where's it at? There it is.
Ah,
Here we go.
how dare you do that?
All right, I can hear you again.
Oh, you missed everything I was saying. No, I'm just going.
I can imagine.
You're all good. You're all good. I was just trying to give a joke when you sat down. I was giving him the old vamp.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, I'm glad 2020 is half over. Honestly, let's get to 2021 at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. 2012. I remember December 21st staying up with I think with George Norrie.
So I
Coast
decided
to
to break
coast.
out my whiskey stones.
Oh, there you go. Nice and cold, I hope.
Heck yeah.
You know, I'm surprised at how well those things do.
Yep.
Dude, you should just add a splash of water.
Well, the thing is, my freezer has a lot of condensation in it, and so this actually had like a couple of pinches of water in it. So
All right. We'll cut you some slack here.
it's nice and cold now.
I'm surprised at how well those whiskey stones do. Because depending on the whiskey, you know, it's like you don't want to water it down at all.
Mhm.
Those things do the trick just as good, if not better than ice, in my opinion.
Oh, that's good.
I got a couple of those glasses
wow.
that got the
That
lining.
was the right decision.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god, that's good.
Sometimes you need a little chill to it.
Yeah.
That's the thing with dessert, you know. You gotta get a little chill in there. Not freezing by any means, but
The smell has lightened up a little bit too. Not dramatically, but it doesn't have a burn to it anymore. I'm getting a lot more of that raisin kind of finish to it.
oh dang, that sounds
But
good.
it's playful now instead of like a little bit of ethanol burn.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, ooh, that's kind of, kind of biting me a little bit. That's just smooth, dark cherry raisin, that deep fig kind of fruit smell.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It looks good watching you drink that.
I know someone who would love Super Mario Brothers on PC, and the YouTube was cars and cameras. Yeah, cars and cameras. I knew it was parts and cars, or cars and cameras, or parts and cameras, or cameras and cars, or whatever it was. It was CNC. But they were one of my favorite YouTube channels like 5-6 years ago. I watched them constantly. I don't know if they're still doing anything, if they're still active or not. But me, I'm a major automotive YouTuber. I love all of the different automotive channels. You've got VinWiki, you've got Ed Bullion, you've got Tavarish, you've got B is for Build, you've got what's his nuts out in Kansas.
Google
Whatever his
that
name
one.
is. Yeah, Google that one. What's his nuts? Yeah. So Hoovy. There we go. Hoovy's Garage. Yeah. Anyway. Might try making coffee cake. My wife is going crazy with bread and pastries lately because we found some yeast yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Our local IGA grocer had some yeast in stock, and there was no limit, and so we stocked up on yeast and flour and everything else. All of it gluten free because my wife is celiac, but she has been going absolutely nuts in the kitchen. She started doing some sourdough starters last week, and so tonight she made her first official loaf of sourdough bread, although she made a couple loaves before this that just didn't quite turn out. Like they were pretty solid, but they weren't like quite there yet. She had one turn out tonight that was just amazingly good. She made something like 3 dozen cookies this afternoon from scratch. She's got a couple more loaves of bread that came out of the oven this afternoon. She's going to make some like 3 loaves of banana bread in the morning. She's got another batch of cookies going in tomorrow. She's got some cinnamon rolls she's baking up in the morning.
My mouth is watering. Dang it.
I know. And yeah, the only yeast I have is in bottles. So unfortunately.
Yeah, me too. I know. I got this sweet like little tart pie maker thing, and I was like going to try and make some cherry pies the other day. And it's like, last time I made some cherry pies out of it, I had some like kind of ready-made like pie crust. I didn't realize that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, need yeast. Oh, well, What am I going to do? Guess I can go to the store and get some yeast now, but didn't think
sourdough can be gluten-free nowadays. And like Tom Brown says, everything is gluten-free nowadays. Not everything, but there are so many good substitutes for gluten ingredients that are out there now.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot closer every day.
Yeah.
As someone who, me and my wife have been together for nearly 18 years. It's been a long time. And in fact, we got together right before she was diagnosed with celiac. She was still like early stages of like showing signs of it. And they didn't really know what gluten intolerance was, because this was 2002, 2003. And I think about 3 months after we got together, she got diagnosed with celiac disease, which is where a lot of the, well, I'm gluten intolerant came from. There's no such thing as gluten intolerance. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease where the presence of gluten in your small intestine will cause your immune system to attack the cilia in your small intestine. It causes immense abdominal pain, and actually permanently damages the cilia to the point where if you do it too much, your body will no longer be able to absorb nutrients in your small intestine. It's kind of a big deal. And there are levels of sensitivity enough where coming into contact with gluten on your skin can cause rashes and can cause internal damage to your intestinal system. And as the doctor who originally diagnosed her said, if this were a 1 to 10 scale, and I'm not saying that it is, but if it were a 1 to 10 scale, you just scored a 43.
Huh.
During the course of testing, we were also doing testings for all other kinds of allergies as well. We were trying to like get to the bottom of what was the problem. So she went into the doctor and they did the arm prick test where they do like 40 needles across your arm of different substances, and they put it just under your skin, and then they watch for reactions. Every single one of those pinpricks reacted. Now, some of them reacted worse than others. And we found out later on that she is actually allergic to like wheatgrass and some other, topical allergens. But she was also allergic to the rubbing alcohol and the swab that they used to apply that to clean the area. So she had a reaction just from that and the needle pushing a little bit of alcohol directly under the skin.
Dang. Yeah, I've heard of that a couple times where it's like they don't control it good enough, so they can't. It's like, uh-oh, what it caused this? Well, who knows, because our control is off.
Yep.
Dang, well.
Yeah, gluten cannot be used by the body. It just gets into your bloodstream. Just because the immune system in your intestine doesn't attack it doesn't mean it's not being removed by your immune system somewhere else. And a lot of time gluten just passes through. But gluten is the coating around the wheat. It's a coating around the kernel of wheat, barley, and rye, and which are like my 3 favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. I'm drinking some of it right now. But it's the coating around the kernels, and whether you grind them up or whether you do anything else, you can have pure gluten. You can take gluten and make things from pure gluten, but you can never completely remove gluten from wheat or gluten from rye or gluten from barley. It's always going to be present in there somewhere. And yeah, your body doesn't use it. But if we grind it up and make a flour out of it, your body can absorb the wheat nutrients and the actual rye or the raw ingredients and nutrients out of it, but it still can't process the rye. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, my wife has an autoimmune reaction to the rye being present in those ingredients. And we strongly suspect my youngest daughter does as well. We haven't had her tested yet, but she's showing the classic signs and she's showing them at age 2. My wife didn't show signs until age 16.
Yeah.
So, and then finally got diagnosed, I think, at 19.
Well, and part of why we see, quote unquote, such a kind of a surge in this idea of, gluten intolerance or whatever. Not just gluten intolerance, but
Shut
like
up, Karen.
celiac disease. Yeah, right. I know. Part of the reason we see all this
Does
is
this have gluten in it? I can't have anything with gluten.
Right.
Oh, by the way, can you bring me some more breadsticks?
Well, see, and part of it is that we have bred wheat to have much higher yields.
Mm-hmm.
And so you look at like a typical like stalk of wheat anymore, and like the amount of grain that is on the end of a stalk is significantly higher than it was 150 years ago. And that's part of what I think why we're seeing a lot more like serious symptoms of celiacs and people that have it. Like, I guarantee you, like, there's probably been something like this around for a long, long time. But like, I think the amount of gluten that you were getting like per loaf of bread or whatever, if that's a term, it might have been lower, and so
it may have been lower. This might
trigger that like autoimmune response.
Right. The coating may have been thinner on older grains of wheat. You can also look at the fact that it was the 1960s, the FDA mandated that every single flour producer in the United States produced enriched wheat flour, which is wheat flour with vitamins and minerals added to it because they were afraid we weren't going to get those vitamins and minerals from our normal diets. Yeah. Well, fast forward to 40 and 50 years later, we don't know if that caused the influx of this massive amount of celiac disease. And it's actually such a problem in Italy. They have kids tested at 5 years old. They have every kid tested because it is so prevalent there, and because a lot of their diet consists of pasta, carbohydrates, etc.
Right.
And so they want to make sure their kids are going to be fine. Excellent Karen impression. Trust me, I've been to restaurants, and me and my wife have had it out a couple of times with some people. Well, I'm gluten intolerant, but sometimes I have a piece of pizza because it's just so yummy. Right. You're not gluten intolerant.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to avoid, like talking about gluten intolerance as a thing rather than like celiac disease.
It's not a thing.
Right. Exactly. I think what a lot of people experience is
you may have a sensitivity to carbs within your diet, and maybe you need to adjust your diet as such. And I'm not saying carbs are the healthiest thing in the world. What I'm saying is that our diet is so consumed of carbs and so carb rich in a lot of cases that, maybe making some alternative solutions and going to a tapioca flour rather than just a raw carbohydrate might be better for you and is likely healthier. That doesn't mean you're gluten intolerant.
Right.
Those are two completely different things.
I think that's the big thing is like, I noticed, like, at least for me, like a big thing with like gluten is just like kind of a lethargy a little bit, Mm-hmm. And I wonder how many of like these Karens out there like eat gluten in their diet and they get lethargic, which is not only just maybe some gluten, but it's also carbs. You get all this stuff going and you're like, oh wow, I don't.
It's also because Karen's still wearing the freshman 20.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But then you get all this idea and you're like, oh, I have a gluten intolerance because.
And 17 of it is in the haircut.
Yeah, exactly. The little bob and the.
If you want more Karen impressions, join the Discord. I'll give you all you want. I can do MLM impressions. I can deliver the best Mary Kay speech you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But basically, I think a lot of people just confuse things that they feel for being like celiac disease, which is just not the case.
Right.
But what are you going to do?
Yep.
Except beat them all savagely.
Exactly.
You heard it here first, folks. Craft computing.
By the way, I wasn't doing a Karen impression. I was literally doing verbatim what I heard in a pizza joint one time.
Why are you even saying that, dude? Karen is our word, okay? That is racist. That's a racist word.
So I can't say the entire thing that I saw, but I saw the greatest response to the Karen is the same as the N-word recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the response was, Karen isn't the same as the N word. It's the polite way of calling you a C.
I can totally see that. I know. That's just what I want to. It's like, yo, dude. It's like,
nailed it.
Yeah, it's the polite way of calling you a B, unless you think it's racist. Then it's a polite way of calling you a C. Yeah, it's funny how many people I see saying that type of stuff. It's like even some friends of my own on Facebook, they're like, I just can't believe the prevalence of hearing the word Karen when I'm out and about. It's so disgusting. It's so gross. Why are people like this? I'm like,
yeah,
dude, I just heard you like calling your freaking gardener a dirty word the other day. Like, what's wrong with you, Karen?
Yep. We'll end with this one. The most egregious one that I've seen in quite a while was not in person. It was on a Reddit thread, and I think it was in Public Freakout, which I love watching.
Yeah, oh God, yes, it's one of.
I like to see a show.
That's one of the best.
But anyway, this older lady, we'll call her Karen. This older lady was living in this apartment complex, and some kids who are not in school right now had taken the afternoon and done some sidewalk chalk down in the parking lot. Okay, so Karen said, I don't want to have to look at this every time I look out my window. And she was out there hosing this down in front of the little girl, making a display of how much of a piece of crap that 6-year-old girl was.
Yeah.
Mind you, I've lived in one of these apartments. It's not a good apartment complex. I lived in one of these apartments when I lived in Eugene, where it's literally like the row of like 12 apartments over the top of a parking garage, and out my window is a Carl's Jr.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is the apartment complex I lived in. And it's like, I'm not exactly ruining the view. In fact, I would love to look down and see, the beautiful drawings and the pictures of flowers and the hopscotch to know my community is still having fun during this really difficult time. Yeah. But instead, I made this 6-year-old feel like absolute trash, and I'm going to sit there and hose it off in front of her and tell her what a piece of crap she is.
Yeah. Yo, y'all want to know the best way to hose off chalk you don't like to see? Just like wait for the kids that drew it to go away.
Right.
Then go out and hose it off. Wait till the night and go out and hose it off. The fact that she hosed it off, the worst part for me is like the camera pans over and it's just this little girl crying.
And she's just in tears.
And then it goes back to the lady and she's just like won't shut her mouth, hosing it off.
And as the father of a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, who my deck is covered in sidewalk chalk right now. I am the eyesore of the neighborhood at the moment. Number one, we moved into the house and we haven't done any landscaping since we moved in. I haven't even mowed the lawn yet.
It's dangerous outside.
Here, take this. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Anyway, we haven't even done any landscaping yet. Now, to be fair, we have a lawn company coming on Friday who is going to spend the entire day here with the entire crew weeding and raking and blowing and doing everything else. And we are going to look like $1 million by the end of the week. But at the same time, I have a deck that's sitting out in the front of my house, and it is covered in sidewalk chalk and misspelled words and flowers and soup kitchen and things like that, because my girls go out there and they play mud kitchen all the time, and they're doing whatever they want on the deck, and the dogs are out there barking and having fun with them. And it is one of the joys in my life right now to be able to sit in my dining room and watch them just go.
Yeah.
And to be that heartless, to walk out onto someone, to walk into a street and crush that little ball of sunshine. I can't even imagine how dark that life must be. So
yeah, I know. What a sad existence.
Yep.
Don't be a Karen, y'all.
Don't be a Karen. Don't be a Karen.
And if your name's Karen, this isn't a reflection.
I don't mean you.
Yeah.
I don't mean you. I mean you have an unfortunate name.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm sure there's one or two good Karens out there.
Yeah.
I've met one.
I'm sure they're out there.
They're out there.
Just, mind your step. You know, you're all good.
This little light of mine.
There's other people out there.
Yep.
Well, hey, that seems like as good a place as any. Maybe not the best, but
It's a place.
personally, we're all good people here. All the people watching, y'all are ballers. Y'all are awesome people out there.
I love that. By the way, I have RTX voice on you as well, and I love that it just bleeped you.
Oh, did it?
It did. It totally did.
Oh, come on.
It was perfect. Perfect.
I was just trying to say y'all are cool people. Y'all are nice and friendly, and every single one of you people coming in every week watching us.
It literally just bleeped one word, and it was absolutely perfect. You'll
Dang
have
it,
to go
dog.
back and watch.
Can't do nothing right.
Yeah.
Curse these remote shows.
Yeah. Drake says, at Craft Computing, as the father of a 7-year-old and a 1-year-old who are stuck inside 90% of the time right now, as my kids are as well. That sounds like the best Picasso to ever have been. If your neighbors don't agree, they can at me and I will take care of them for you.
Baller.
Thank you so much.
Baller move, dude.
And that goes for you as well. You need a little support? Give me a ring. Bye, Felicia. Anyway, this has been it for Talking Heads episode 131 here on Craft Computing. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already and drop this video a like. Also, make sure to follow the links down in the video description. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Follow Rhett on Twitter at RhettIsAwesome. Also, check him out at Game Devs Quest. Rhett, you have anything coming out on the game dev side of things? I know it's kind of a weird time.
It is super weird. We just wrapped up our 7th game jam, the OMG jam.
I knew that was either coming up or had just passed.
Just ended on Monday. So it was a 6-week long event, but you guarantee as long as people need to stay indoors to stay safe and healthy, we're going to be throwing more events. The podcast is slowing down, unfortunately, but we got a very active Discord and very active event community. So if making games is your thing, that's where you can find us over there on Twitter. Or if you want to learn, I mean, we got artists, we got musicians, we've got designers and developers, man. You pick it, man. If wanted to learn how to make games is your thing, we're your home.
That was wonderful. Anyway, I think that's about it. If you would like to financially donate to the show, you can either do that through Super Chat. We always read every Super Chat that comes in as long as it's appropriate. Or, the even better way, follow the link down in the video description to my Patreon. I brag about this a lot, but it is absolutely true. Coolest bunch of cats I've ever known in my life, and one of the best internet communities I've ever been involved with. It is seriously an awesome place. We have help forums for building PCs for either beginners or experts. We have networking help, both home lab and professional level networking help on there. We've got meme wars. We've got what are you drinking and eating today? Today I posted a picture of my Chinese food and my whiskey haul. And it's stuff like that. And it's going pretty much 24 hours a day. Oh, and then we also discuss my videos when I post them on there. But that's really not the best part. It's the behind the scenes access, and it's the community itself that makes it great. I mean, myself, Rhett, John, and Steve are pretty much always on there as well. I am on there every single day for at least a solid 4 hours. But does Rhett have a YouTube channel, or is it just the Twitter and the Discord? Rhett is just the Twitter account, and then you've technically also got GameDevsQuest.com, right?
Yeah, GameDevsQuest.com. Yeah, that's a place. You can find our podcasts, our Twitter. Yep. You can find anything you need there. That's a place. Yep. It's got links to all of our other links.
But no, seriously, if you are thinking about wanting to support the channel in any such way, shape, and form, that Patreon literally does help me keep the lights on around here and helps keep content coming to you. And you get to chat with all of us, plus the really freaking cool community that's over there. We have more to announce there shortly, so if you're thinking about it, please do join. It is much appreciated. Either $1, $5, whatever you got. It is definitely appreciated. Anyway, that is going to do it for us. Please join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. And as always, we'll see you next time. Later, all.